Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on Arrowverse, DCTV, and also DC Films. It's a bit of a mishmash. Now, the first thing I want to say is hopefully this video is going out on either Christmas Day in Australia or Christmas Day in America, one of the two. I'm recording it a couple of days in advance because I'm going to be busy during that period, but Merry Christmas to all. If you do celebrate it, hopefully everyone has a good time with family, friends, whatever it might be, and just, stays in a good mood. It's a good time to be happy. Yeah, hopefully everyone has a good time. If you don't celebrate Christmas, happy holidays, all that stuff. And yeah, have a good time, eat some food, all that. So with the ever-changing landscape that is the live-action sector or part of the DC universe, we are very curious to see what James Gunn has in store for us when it comes to the new era of DC live action, mainly on the film side. This will of course bleed over into TV series over on, I guess, whatever HBO Max is called, come sometime in the first half of next year because it's changing names. Now, we know that some actors are leaving certain roles with those characters being recast, Superman being the first one of these, with James Gunn writing that particular project. But James is an active user on Twitter and does answer some people's questions, which have helped certain situations and topics have more clarity and understanding, with other responses opening more and more doors in regards to fan curiosity. Now, one of the recent replies that sent people into the theory engine part of their brains was when someone asked if Elseworld stories were being considered, with James replying that the development of Elseworld stories from the DC universe are, quote, actively happening. Now, one of James Gunn's first tweets after officially, I think it was, taking over DC Studios alongside Peter Safran was a tweet that had an image from Kingdom Come attached to it. Now, Kingdom Come itself is an Elseworld story, but it doesn't seem like one that would be touched upon anytime soon. It wouldn't be at the top of these are the things we need to do. Especially saying that a Superman film is in the works and appears to be one of the first movies that will be coming out under this new DCEU world and canon that Gunn and Safran are creating. Kingdom Come seems like a weird one to be putting alongside that as a recent movie to be working on. Now, one of the bigger announcements over the past week, roughly, in the world of live action DC and mainly the film stuff, was the news and I guess announcement from The Rock himself that he had talked to James Gunn and Peter Safran and that he would not be returning as Black Adam anytime soon at the very least, as I guess don't have any intention to use the character. Now, one thing of note from all of that, as I don't think it was much of a shocker that Black Adam 2 won't be coming our way and there's no desire to rush to use Black Adam in another project, especially when you base it off the box office results as well, with The Rock's team apparently still attached to Black Adam's character and potential stories with him in the future and, the multiverse and stuff like that, which sort of had people linking it up to that stuff that James Gunn said, that Elseworlds projects for the DC universe are in, development behind the scenes and actively happening. Now, Elseworlds stories means, if you want to use examples, are like Joker, the Joker movie, and I guess it's a sequel that's coming out in 2024, I think it is, and I guess the Batman universe as well by Matt Reeves, which is going to get movies and TV shows attached to it as well. Or Elseworld stories as in a Black Adam 2 or something with a character from a former DC franchise or universe or period. So pretty much we could get Elseworld stories from everything that's come, since I guess Man of Steel to where we are now, and of course next year because we have Shazam, Aquaman, Blue Beetle, and the Flash and stuff. I guess that's the former universe, and they could pinch and pick stories from there, and I guess do Elseworld stuff with that if they wanted to. Now, one thing that people have jumped on, which I haven't fully leaned into either in regards to believing it's a possibility, but people think that this could maybe mean something to do with the character or characters from the Arrowverse, because that sort of is a former DC franchise, I guess, or a disconnected DC franchise from that main DC universe that Gunn is creating. Now, what stories could the Arrowverse characters or just the Arrowverse canon be involved in? Because I think it would have to be something that, didn't have a clear ending or clear closed door, and is something that is not on the must-do list for James Gunn in his main universe. So Flash, for example, no, he's going to use Flash at some point. Superman, obviously from Superman and Lois, no. Supergirl, no. Green Arrow, no. It's going to have to be something that isn't an enticing project that James Gunn really wants to use in his universe, but also has enough interest from fans as well. And also didn't end clearly, like Arrow ended clearly Supergirl ended somewhat clearly, even though the door was open there. You don't want to touch upon those projects and ruin the legacy they would have potentially. So due to that, the only ones I could really actually see happening possibly, and I have pretty good reasons for one of them at the very least, is Batwoman, because it's Ron Wilder, who I don't see being used in the movie stuff for a long while at the very least, because, I mean, they're going to use Kate Kane if they even go and touch Batwoman and use that character. And the other one is maybe Legends of Tomorrow. But this leads into the next point, mainly with Legends of Tomorrow. It would have to be, and I sort of said this before, enticing enough, not only for James Gunn to not want to use in his main universe, but see as a decent product enough to put into an Elseworld story, but it has to be enticing enough for the general audience to go, okay, I'll go watch that. So it wouldn't really be following on from the story of the show or particular character too heavily, because then you're only really going to be selling it to the people that watch the show. And I mean, in regards to like Legends and Batwoman, they didn't really have the biggest viewing audiences, you know what I mean? So already the potential audience is already a bit smaller. Now, you could obviously use the concept of Legends and everything like that and just do some zany adventure and everything like that, but it still comes down to the potential audience there and everything like that. And to be fair, I think both of them don't have like the largest, ceiling to get to. So Batwoman is probably the most likely out of the two to use as an Elseworld story from the Arrowverse, funnily enough, though it probably wouldn't be in most people's top 3 or 5 choices. But I just think because you're using Ron Wilder, who isn't the main Batwoman and wouldn't be even on the list of characters that they even have planned for the DCU, in my opinion, they'd use Kate Kane, I guess, if they're going to use Batwoman. They could do something there with her if they wanted to. Now, when it comes to DC TV shows crossing over into being a potential Elseworlds project in the films disconnected from the main universe that James Gunn is putting together, the one I can actually see happening the most is actually something that is a DC TV show currently, but connected to, I guess at the moment, still I guess, the DCEU, and that is Peacemaker. Peacemaker Season 1 was very popular and was watched a lot and went viral in a lot of different cases and scenes and episodes and stuff like that. It was originally announced that James Gunn would write and direct all the episodes for a second season, which it was already renewed for like a while back, like I think, was it towards the end of Season 1 or just after Season 1 ended? Now, I think James Gunn said that Season 2 would still happen and be like a legacy project of sorts. However, there's no word on when it's going to start filming and stuff. So it wouldn't shock me, especially due to the fact that the streaming service that it was on, HBO Max, is changing up come next year as well, that maybe this becomes the first Elseworlds project. You know, they film it as a movie, a 2-hour fun sort of big action-packed thing. However, this of course depends on whether James Gunn is rebooting his universe fully or he's cherry-picking what does and does not stay in his DC universe. That is still yet to be any clearer, as certain actors like Zachary Levi and Gal Gadot seem to be staying in their roles, but Henry Cavill is already out and Jason Momoa seems to be out as Aquaman as well. It's all a wait and see. So if everything's being rebooted, then Peacemaker potentially becomes that first Elseworlds project. But if it's cherry picking, then I guess Peacemaker would stay in that universe as well. So it's a big question mark because we don't really know what James Gunn is doing. Hopefully when we get to like January, when he said we'd learn more about his first projects, he sort of says exactly how this is playing out, whether it's a full reboot or it is a cherry picking situation. But yeah, at this moment, we're guessing because he's not really giving us any insight into his decision making. But the idea of Elseworlds does sound exciting, at least on like a consistent release schedule sort of thing. Like you don't want 4 of them a year, but if you get like 1 Elseworlds movie a year mixed with like 3 or 4 main universe movies, that sounds really cool because we've already got some Elseworlds stuff with the Joker movies and the Batman universe. But like with Joker, I don't think we'd get a trilogy Joker movie. Like I'm surprised we're getting a sequel, but with the Matt Reeves Batman movies, like I'd be surprised if we got one like every 3 or 4 years. I think like probably one every 4 years is probably what we're going to get, and then mixed in with some TV shows connected to that universe here and there. But there are a lot of different comic stories to grab from when it comes to the Elseworlds. Like I'm sure a lot of people want to see like a Gotham by Gaslight live action movie. That'd be pretty interesting. And just even ones that you can just make up and be original Elseworlds stories as well. I'm sure James Gunn has like because it's pretty much like a what if, like what if is Elseworlds. So it's like, what if the Flash was a caveman? What if Superman had one eye? Well, that'd be a weird one. But anyway, stuff like that. Like, I'm sure James Gunn could create a couple of different Elseworlds things or Elseworlds stories to fill that catalog up. So I'm intrigued to see what they do. It could be really good. Could be like, okay, it's fun, but depends if like what you're picking and choosing from. Whether it already exists or it's completely new, that's a wait and see. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, it'd be awesome if you could drop a like on it to show support. Let me know in the comment section down below your various opinions on all the stuff we went over. Very curious to hear what you guys have to say. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe and I will catch you guys later. Goodbye.